Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm from Arizona. I supported Trump in 2016 and Biden in 2020. I can't support Donald Trump in 2024 because of the chaos, because of him living in the past, and the statements that he makes are belittling to others. They are bullying to others. Trump stating that he wants to overturn the Constitution should be clanging bells and alarms for everyone in this nation. When you don't have a constitution, you have communism. When you don't have a constitution, you've got dictators and authoritarian leaders. Anybody saying they want to overthrow the Constitution or throw out the Constitution is only wanting power for themselves. This world is a scary place now. I mean, you bring in social media, you bring in AI, you bring in all of this other technology, and we have to be on our top game. I will be supporting Biden in 2024 because I believe that Trump and his extremism has just gone too far and is not what our country needs.
My name is Tina, and I am a former Trump supporter. Voted for him twice, but never again. I'm a retired veteran. My husband was a Navy chief who died in an aircraft mishap supporting and defending this country. My son spent 11 months in Iraq in 2023, and they fought for that election process. And for someone to thumb their nose at it, President Trump crossed the line at that moment. And then on top of that, when Trump said in a private conversation that these military service members were losers, they're just a bunch of losers. And of course, I'm not saying it verbatim. That hurt. That hurt. My husband's sacrifice does not qualify him as a loser. He's a winner. He's a hero. So for a president to belittle our service members was the final straw for me. I cannot support a man who can't lead the men and women who serve this country. I cannot support a man that is an instigator of an insurrection of our country. I cannot vote for a man who has belittled the fighting men and women of our country.
I'm Bill Wilson from New Jersey, and I am a former Trump voter. I voted for Donald Trump 2 times. But then when January 6th came and saw what had happened and how he allowed it to happen, I could not, in good conscience, continue to support him. My heart was breaking to think our nation's capital was being destroyed by a bunch of hooligans who, out of their love and loyalty to one man, that they would journey in and rip a place apart. I do not believe the election was stolen, even though Donald Trump felt it was. And there was no justification to say it was stolen. Every avenue was taken to recount votes, to make sure the votes were in accord. And then when we found out that the president was going in there and trying to get those who were in charge of the elections to sort of change the results was deplorable and not a part of a constitutional government for the United States. I've been a Republican all my life. I have been proud to be a Republican, but today I'm almost embarrassed to say that I'm a Republican because of where the party has gone. In 2024, I will not vote for Donald Trump. I cannot vote out of good conscience.
Todd Steenbergen. I'm from Kentucky, and I voted in the 2016 election for Donald Trump. I realized that I regretted my vote for Mr. Trump, especially when the pandemic hit. And I felt his leadership was lacking, and thus I did not vote for him in the 2020 election. It concerns me that Trump is running with remarks that seem to suggest that the Constitution is not important. In regards to the fact that he will take revenge upon a number of officials, that just concerns me. And we have to take those kinds of things seriously. His remarks in regards to Putin and the Ukrainian invasion that has been happening and the war there, his meeting with Viktor Orban is very concerning, should be very concerning. Therefore, I will not be voting for Donald Trump in the 2024 election. And my support will go to Mr. Biden.
My name is Tom, and I'm from the state of Michigan, and I am a former Trump voter. Peaceful elections and a peaceful transfer of power is a hallmark of our republic. Without a peaceful transfer of power, we're no different than any other nation around the world that constantly have coups and dictatorships and governments rising and falling. And that's why it's such a serious matter to me. I have heard Trump say that he'll be your retribution and he wants revenge. And the reason why I think that's harmful is because the president is not supposed to be going after people. The president exists to serve the people. Those actions, the retribution, going after your political enemies, that's something that dictators do, not presidents. I would say that the most important thing we have to think about is freedom, the freedom that the Constitution gives us within the United States. And we want somebody who's not going to destroy that freedom, who's not going to try to usurp the powers that each branch of government has, and also to think about the freedom that the United States can represent around the world. He doesn't seem to support the United States being involved around the world. I will definitely not vote for Trump this November. What he did was repugnant, it was disgusting, and I want a president who's going to ensure that freedom thrives throughout the world.
My name is Steve. I'm a former Trump voter, voted for him in 2020. Some of the things he's said have worried me. He's talked about doing away with the Constitution at times, and I just don't think that he is a true conservative. He talks more like a totalitarian. His views on Ukraine and his comments on Ukraine, like he will take care of the war on day one, can only mean that he will, let Putin have what he's gained and maybe more. And I just don't think that is fair to the Ukrainian people. I don't think that's fair to freedom and democracy. Sweden has been neutral for many years, decades. And Putin's recent aggression has made them join sides now. And so they are concerned. And, the rest of the world should be concerned. And so I think Trump's tendency toward isolationism is not doing the world a favor. And I'm not going to vote for him this election coming up because I just don't like the way he has behaved. I don't trust him. And he seems almost deranged, unstable is the word I would use. And I just don't trust who he is and what he says. And I don't think he'll be good for democracy. So I just can't vote for him this time around.
My name is Andrew. I live in North Carolina. I did vote for Trump in 2016. I did not vote for him in 2020, and I will not vote again for him in 2024. He's ingratiated himself to Kim Jong-un in North Korea and Putin. He acts like he's his best friend. I think Putin's just laughing all the way. I think Trump's main driving force is revenge and retribution. You see it in his business dealings. All you have to do is watch the show The Apprentice. We watched that 10 or 15 years ago, and that's what he's all about. It's always about revenge. Even during his first term, he did not have a history of working well with other party members. You can see he's already even tried to weasel his way into legislative activities now in the last 6 months or 12 months when he's not in an elected position. He's hoisted his power on the leadership of the Republican Party, which it's almost like in Russia, the former Soviet Union, where the party leader was also the leader of the country. And that's what's happened here.
My name is Ed. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I voted for Donald Trump in 2016. I did not vote for him in 2020. I will not vote for him in 2024. I am a 24-year Navy veteran. I served in a war. I saw the ultimate sacrifice. I cannot vote for Donald Trump because he epitomizes the worst of the people that we are. And regrettably, I did cast a vote for Donald Trump in 2016, thinking he would grow into the office, and he didn't. Think about the character of the man versus the policies. And I think Trump's character is very poor. So if you have a difference of opinion regarding, say, Afghanistan, if you have a difference of opinion about the border, that's policy. That's not character. I started seeing it on a pretty much daily basis during COVID, where he seemed to be putting posturing and politics over the good of the country. And I would ask my fellow citizens to vote for Biden for the good of the country, because he's not perfect. But right now, he is a better deal for this 200 and something year experiment in American democracy. We might lose it if Trump gets elected. I'm concerned about that.
My name is Gary. I am from Arizona, and I'm a lifelong Republican up until a few years ago when I left the party, largely because of its complete loyalty and sellout to Donald Trump. His statements of intention to get his revenge on federal law enforcement like the DOJ and the FBI should be taken seriously. And I believe that he would be more than happy to dismantle that entire apparatus federal law enforcement in order to get his revenge for what Trump believes they have done to him. And this would result in the very important functions that the FBI and other federal agencies serve not being performed, and Americans would suffer. And that does not matter to Donald Trump one bit. Well, my plan is to vote for Joe Biden, and not because I'm so absolutely impressed with his presidency, and not because I'm have become a Democrat. I have not, but because it is imperative that Trump not be elected. And I see voting for Biden as the only effective way to stop that.
My name is Don Lupke. I'm from Northeast Indiana. I'm 80 years old and a lifelong Republican. And I voted for Donald Trump in 2016, did not in 2020, and I cannot vote for him again this year. You can't be loyalty to an individual. You have to be loyal to principles. And we don't seem to have that. I am deeply concerned about his leanings towards the Soviet Union or Russia and the kinds of things that are happening there. I mean, his comments about NATO, about pulling out and doing all those other kinds of things, that's not what the United States, and it's not what this world needs. We need sane thought and contemplation, and again, looking at and addressing the problems that exist and then going about solving them. Most of America is not happy with either candidate. Let's face it. What are we looking for in leaders? That matter of integrity, that matter of caring for people, of working for everybody. Not just a certain tier of society. I voted for Donald Trump in 2016, but certainly not into 2024. So I just can't do that. Republicans deserve better than this.
My name is Paul Smith. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I voted for Trump in 2016. I will never vote for him again. I cannot support such a despicable human being. I'm the father of 2 young girls, and I could never cast a vote for a rapist. I could never cast a vote for somebody who failed so miserably in his first term, particularly pertaining to the pandemic. I think that he is a dishonest charlatan. He is a con man, and he has duped a lot of very smart and not so smart people into believing everything that he says. Let's talk about the indictments. He's got 4 indictments with 91 counts against him. I believe all of them are legitimate. It's clear to me that he is a traitor. He is a seditionist. He is an insurrectionist. He is a dishonest. I don't know if I'm allowed to use 4-letter words, but the guy's a piece of shit. He referred to soldiers who died in World War II as suckers. Disqualified right there. I find it so frustrating. And in 2024, there is no chance I will vote for anybody but Joe Biden.
My name is Joel Gilbert. I was born in California, live here in Maryland, been a Republican since I turned 18. I voted for Trump twice, and I will never vote for him again. In both 2016 and 2020, when I voted for him, I sort of plugged my nose because I didn't feel like he was the kind of guy that I wanted leading our country, but he was the one most closely aligned with the issues that I thought were important for our nation. But the more that I've come to learn about him, the more I've realized I don't think I can trust him. I can't trust him to make a decision that'll be good for the nation. He's going to make a decision that's going to be good for him in his eyes. As a father of 3, I certainly don't want my kids looking up to him as being the head of our nation, thinking, yeah, that's a man who's worthy of my respect. I think when it comes to his rhetoric about retribution and what would happen in his second term, I definitely feel like that he's going to do whatever is going to make his name rise to the top. And I think we see evidence of that in the way that he called out the Republican leaders of Congress to pull back from a really good immigration deal. He's not for protecting our country. He's for protecting his name. He's not a man of conviction. I think he's a man of convenience.
Trump talking about retribution
and going after people is disrespect of our military.
The military people that he's disgraced.
91
criminal felonies,
4 different indictments.
He mishandled classified documents.
Taking documents.
Now his desire to do away with NATO.
Donald Trump talks about abandoning Ukraine.
He said he'll be a dictator on day 1.
If he's going to be a dictator on day 1, he's going to be a dictator, period.
That kind of stuff scares me.
Absolutely scares me.
The second Trump term would be worse than the first.
I second second term for Trump would be far more extreme.
It is dangerous, outright dangerous.
I cannot support Donald Trump again.
I'd never vote for him again.
He'll never get my vote, ever, ever.